Hello friends. So we just finished building our Harry Potter fan app, and you've seen in the previous episodes how easy it is to build an app using ZOAPIIO. It requires almost no programming at all, very little programming. You just need basic knowledge of Flutter, and obviously you need knowledge on how to build the apps. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about the super feature, kind of the icing on the cake, and that feature is server-driven or backend-driven UI. What that means is you can make changes to your app, and you do not need to recompile your app. These changes are rendered from the server. So for instance, you take a page and you will see a flag here called server driven. If you check this, then this page will be rendered from the server. And everything else remains exactly the same. You build it like you're building now. And it's just that the content of the page will now be rendered from the server. There's one limitation, which is that if your page has any Flutter code or interactivity, then it can't be server rendered. Because obviously the Flutter code needs to be in your app for it to work. It can't be rendered from outside or on the fly. So if you look at this page, we have interactivity. So this page itself cannot be server rendered. But the view also have a server driven flag. So you can make this view dynamic by checking this, which means everything in the view, as long as the interactivity doesn't change, can be updated from the server without recompiling the app. Okay, so you can add more elements, you can reorganize elements, change the style, everything, and there's no need to recompile that. So we can do it for pages and we can do it for views. Let's see what else we can do it for. We can do it for the navigation buttons. If you want to add a new navigation button, that's it. Simply go ahead and add and check this box, server driven, which means this command would get added to your app on the fly. Nothing else needs to be done. This feature is part of your app. You don't have to enable anything else. It comes as a functionality or a feature in the product itself. It's really that simple. A flag checked on and off, that's all. What if you want to remove a button? If you remove the button from here, then that doesn't change anything because it's already there as a part of the app. We need a way of telling to the app that it has been removed. So what you do is come to the action and change it to inactive. So if you update a navigation command and make it inactive, this is effectively you are removing it from the app. So the moment you make this change and you deploy, the button would be removed. You can of course add a new command, and if you check this box, it will appear on your app immediately without recompilation. You can do it for assets. For example, we use this movies list, which is a file that was downloaded as a part of the app. You can check this as server driven. And if you do this, then you can modify the content of the movies file. And the one that's there with the app will be ignored, and it's going to take and override the one from the server, which you can modify. So here, if you want to change the images, even change the style of the, sorry, you can't do the style from here. This is data only. You want to change the content, update, you can just do it on the fly without requiring recompilation. Of course, if this was an API, that would be the case anyway. But because it's an asset file, here again we can use a server driven and achieve the same result. Okay, now let's take it for a spin. Let's make some changes and see how we fare. So let's go to the calculator, check this box, and change the action to inactive. And we do a save. And now we have to deploy, right? Because unless it is deployed, nothing will change. And yes, but we do not have to do a generate Flutter project. So let's go back. Let's run. And I will notice that the calculator button has been removed without doing anything. Let's go back, try something else. Let's try to change the contents of a view dynamically. So what we have here is the movies page, and let's say we want to change this dynamically. So what we need to do is we need to check the flag server driven and build the app. This is required because if a view is dynamic, then that information needs to be present in the app, which is not true of the page. Page you can just add and check this flag, and there the page gets added. Same thing applies to the navigation and to the assets. But for a view, if it is dynamic, this information needs to be present in the app. So what we're going to do is we're going to check this flag, deploy it, then generate the app once. Let's look at the movies page. Okay. Now our app is ready because we've checked the server driven flag. Now it's ready to be dynamically updated. So let's say try a simple change. We can add more stuff to it and all that will work. But just for the purpose of demonstration, let's do a very simple thing. Let's take the name and change its style. Let's change its color to primaries is a green color. Let's change its size to large. We do a save and we do a deploy. But no generate. We are not going to generate that because last time we generated, the fact that this view is server generated is already there in that. Now we just need to change that view from the server. Let's see. So we can see now the view, the style of the text has changed, and we did not have to recompile that. So this is a very simple example of just changing the style. But we could have done, what we could have done is we could have changed the layout of this from a grid to a row. We could have changed it to a column. We could have changed the grid composition. We could have made it, let's say, four elements in a row. All those changes could have been made just by changing the app design on the server and not recompiling the app. So this is the power of server-side rendering of the app, and it comes at absolutely no cost. I mean, it's pretty much automatic in ZOAPIIO. So if server-driven UI is one of your priorities or requirements, then I think this is absolutely a brand new thing. No other product in the world has something like this. So I'll leave it at that. I'm sure you've already grasped the power of this platform. What I will do now is just walk you through some other parts of the designer, which give you more control on your app. So let's take a view, for example. Now, when we build a view, we build it using our little layout manager where we can add stuff and things like that. Now, there'll be situations where you would want something which is, let's say, completely custom. You don't want to use the rendering provided by this, and you want a totally custom rendering in the sense you can provide your own Flutter code. So with each view, we have a we have element called app view flutter. And here you can provide a custom rendering of your view. So rest of the page is system managed, but just for a specific view, you want to provide your own rendering. Details are available in the documentation. So this level of control is available to you. You can build your own components that we've seen. You can provide completely custom components for specific elements. And you can override the rendering of each view. And you can even override the rendering of a page. When we are building the page and we have the page flutter, you have an option of checking this flag, override build page. If you do this, that means you have to provide your own implementation of a method by the name build page, which will be used to render your page. So if your app has a page which you want like really fine grained and detailed control, and you want to go through this kind of composition, you can provide a Flutter implementation from outside. That's acceptable as well. So there is a very fairly high level of control is available to you. And of course, if you don't want to use this, you can use with a generic, which is very, very fast. And we've seen how easy it is to build those apps. So, well, that concludes this series of the tutorial episodes. Hopefully, we've covered everything. And if you want to get back to me, you want to have questions or comments, you can write them on the blog page where I've posted these videos, or you will find my contact information on the same page, or you can reply to the video, whatever, and I'll look forward to your comments. Thank you for being with us, going through this series, and I hope you have a great time building apps using ZOAPIIO. Thank you very much.